Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 70 of I Wish You Were Dead, a podcast about things that used to be alive. That's Gavin, and that's Fia, and everybody, peace be with you.
And also with you, Mike.
Yes.
For those of you that are wondering what's going on, it's a very long story, but today's a holiday,
But
and not the one
really
that you're
quickly,
thinking
I
of.
was going to say really quickly. So peace be with you, and also with you, I believe is also a Catholic thing. So whatever that means to you, I promise you, it's not what you're thinking. Despite Easter having just happened.
This is a very long story that I will not explain the whole thing of, but in college, me and my buddies invented a holiday called Easter Wine Wednesday.
Peace be with
where
you.
The Wednesday after Easter every year, we drink wine out of soda cans and just generally have a good time with each other.
And we are all of age.
Absolutely, we are all of age and partaking. I do not partake before or during school, obviously. But
for legal
unlike
reasons.
the holiday, or for actual reasons. Well, I mean, I guess you're right. I guess for legal, for legal reasons and lots of other reasons, I don't partake in school. But this might not be the holiday you thought we were celebrating in this episode that's being released on 4/20. But at some point, we're going to be wine drunk tonight.
Yes. Ideally,
that is. Ideally, that is certainly the goal. And Fia, it is good to have you back. Gavin, it was awesome being out in California with you. I miss you now, but it's nice to have the three of us back here to record this one.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. And this is an extra special episode because Fia is taking the wheel this episode, as you might have been able to tell by the title of the episode. And so something that I think we want to start doing is just in general making the podcast slightly more structured. I feel like that's not exactly, at least Mike's personality. But I think we're going to start trying.
Didn't discuss that before the show, but okay.
No, I didn't.
Roasted.
I'm not saying. You ever see that meme where it's never before have I been so offended by something I 100% agree with?
I haven't. Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're gonna try to start doing every episode that ends in 0 is a Fia episode. Every episode that ends in a 5 is a Mike episode, and then the rest are the typical episodes. Because that's roughly how it's worked anyway.
What about the episodes that end in 69?
We'll have to do our best to get all of us in person.
For that next one?
Yeah, 100, 99 episodes from now, I guess. But yeah, so going forward, you might notice a handful of different changes going on with the podcast. Just trying to make things a little more structured. And with that, I guess we have a couple of announcements before we get started, as I guess a structured quote-unquote podcast should. We have lots of links down in the description that we never seem to talk about. We put them down there and then we forget about them. So if you forgot about them also, I don't blame you. But we do have some Google Forms down there if you want to suggest an episode topic. We have a form down there for that. I can just come up with things that I want to talk about all day, but it's a lot more fun and interesting, and we'll probably end up with a lot more diverse topics.
And we've already gotten some pretty great episodes from other people that have suggested topics. So please, if you have anything, paleontological or adjacent, let us know.
Or even just like if there's a living group of organisms, for me, vertebrates, or now that we have Fia, she can help out with invertebrate stuff too.
Yeah.
Leave a suggestion. We can talk about, their current, stuff that they got going on today, as well as, their evolutionary history. If you want to leave us a voice message and have that included in the podcast, there's an option for that down below as well. And then I don't even know, like the Spotify, I don't personally use Spotify. Can you rate podcasts in Spotify? Is that a thing?
I think you can just like them.
Okay. Well, if you could do that, that'd be helpful. Doing that kind of thing helps promote the podcast to other people. And I'd like to see this little corner of the internet grow a little bit personally. So that'd be real helpful. And then lastly, a bit of a personal announcement that Mike and Fia both already know, but I haven't talked about on the podcast yet, is that I got a new job. And I am moving back across the country. Uh, I am once again going to be joining Mike in the Eastern Time Zone. I got a job at Bucknell University as the director of laboratories for the geology department, and I could not be more excited. I'll be moving in about a month. I think like 5 weeks is about when we're leaving. So if around that time the podcast gets a little wonky and we have some shenanigans going on, it's because I'm driving across country again.
Coming from the guy that wants to make the podcast more regimented. But all right, so plan for some shenanigans.
Yes. if everything goes according to plan, you listeners will not notice a thing. But you never know. I've recorded from hotels before.
And we are absolutely looking forward to you being back over here on the East Coast and to at some point getting to have a whole episode dedicated to the new gig. Because I know this is something you've kind of looked forward to for a while. So I'm very much looking forward to having you a little bit closer. As much as I enjoyed visiting you in California, it is time to bring Gavin back home.
All right. And with that, I think let's actually get into some of the meat of this episode. So Mike, do you have a Today in History for us?
I do. So again, it's 420. There's a lot of material here. Not all of it good, but I'm going to begin with a quick piece of trivia.
Ooh, I love it.
Do either of you have a guess as to what president has had the longest post-presidency? So what president has lived the longest since they were president? Or after they were done being president?
I am inclined to say Jimmy Carter.
Okay, so we have a guess of Jimmy Carter from Gavin and Fia. Fia doesn't sound like she has a guess.
I don't have a guess. I don't know presidents very well, which I should.
Fair enough. Well, the good news is that you actually don't have to, because Gavin was 100% right. Jimmy Carter has the longest post-presidency. And that's a record that's still being set because Jimmy Carter, against all odds, is still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the oldest person to ever be president ever. Longest post-presidency. He's Jimmy Carter. What are you going to do?
Right, and I always keep seeing stuff from him doing stuff for like Habitat for Humanity, which is really awesome to see.
He doesn't do what every other president does, which is like go join the board of a company and write books and like pretend to still be important. Like Jimmy Carter's out here building houses for the homeless.
Yeah.
Like, the man wasn't a great president, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But like, damn it, he's one of the best humans to ever live. So in 1979 on 420, there's, with most stories, I guess you can kind of build them up. I'm not really sure there's much of a build up for this kind of a story. I remember learning about this in my AP US history class. But in 1979, Jimmy Carter was out on a fishing boat and he got attacked by a swamp rabbit. I didn't know.
Swamp rabbit?
A swamp rabbit? I didn't know a swamp rabbit was a thing. There's a photograph of like the rabbit swimming away after it had already attacked Carter. This is while he was president. He was out in a fishing boat. There's a photo of the whole thing. I didn't know swamp rabbits were a thing.
I feel like that was just a rabbit that lives in the swamp. I've never heard of that. I don't know. Fia?
I just Googled swamp rabbit and they just look like rabbits.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping. Yeah.
A species?
Yeah, I think it was on the Wikipedia page, and there was, there is like a type of rabbit, I guess. I'm not going to try and pronounce that word, but like, there is a species there, but it's just, I can't make that up. I can't say anything else other than the sitting president of the United States got attacked by a swamp rabbit.
I love that.
Which is just a glorious little cap to, Jimmy Carter and his presidency.
Yeah.
So that happened in 1979 on the day this episode comes out. So Gavin, I believe you have, because this is a Fia Takes the Wheel, you've got just a quick, I don't know what we're calling your thing, moment in paleontology, but you've got like a quick little hit for us.
So let's do that at the end. Let's get into some of the more meat of the episode for Fia.
Sure, we'll put that at the end. So cool. Fia, is this your first Fia Takes the Wheel episode?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wonderful. So Fia, you told us not to look at the document. I have no idea what we're talking about today. So Fia, the floor is yours.
All right. So this week's podcast, I wanted to talk about a mythical creature I learned about when I moved to Louisiana, and they are called the Rougarou, or I will be pronouncing it Rougarou just because That's what I learned, but there's a few pronunciations. Any first guess as to what this thing might be?
No, not a clue. I got nothing.
So, wait, are you saying Rougarou?
Yeah.
With an R at the beginning.
With an R, yeah.
Okay. So for a little bit of disclosure, Fia does not speak French.
I do not.
I do. And so Fia asked me to look up the pronunciation of this. I definitely Googled something wrong. Or it's just not at all pronounced how it's supposed to be. So just hearing it, no, I would not know what that would be. But with a little bit of advanced behind the curtain knowledge, I do know a little bit of what that's supposed to be.
Right. That's okay.
Inside baseball.
Inside baseball?
You haven't heard that word before?
Did I use it correctly?
You didn't, but it's close enough.
Okay, well.
This is more like when you say fourth wall-y kind of stuff. That's kind of more what this is. So
I meant I had like knowledge that I might not. I guess insider trading.
I guess that might work a little bit better.
Okay.
Gavin accidentally Googled this before we started recording, so he got a little tip off as to what it is. But Fia, I forgot what Gavin said.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, so I have this thing. It starts with an R. It's French. It probably sucks. So like, what is it?
Hey, French is a good language.
No, I didn't. Well, it's not that French sucks. I assume this thing sucks.
Oh, okay. Why?
It's okay. So, from my understanding, the Rougarou is basically like a Bigfoot or a Yeti, but werewolf version. It's the Cajun version of a werewolf.
Wait, this is a thing that exists?
Well, it depends on if you believe in Bigfoot or Yetis.
Oh, okay. And we had a whole episode on cryptozoology. Okay.
We did. So. And if I was a better podcast host, I'd know what episode that was. Somewhere in the 40s.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about some mythical creatures. Fia, lay it on us.
Yeah. The Rougarou is a mythical creature in many French communities linked to traditional concepts of a werewolf. It comes from the French version of the word loup-garou, which Gavin looked up earlier.
Yes, that's what I Googled, because this is the French word. And so I was like, that's why I was like, with an R?
Yeah.
Because that's not French.
Yeah. So in French communities, it's Rougarou, but the actual French, I guess Rougarou is a derivative of loup-garou.
Okay.
But it's very common across French Louisiana. The legend of the Rougarou has been spread through French settlements, actually through French that settled in Louisiana, which at that point was New France, or also through French Canadian immigrants that came and settled in Louisiana. Now, there's many different versions of the story of the Rougarou, but the one that I have heard, and this is the Cajun version, is that the Rougarou is half man, half wolf creature that lives in the swamp, particularly around Acadiana and Greater New Orleans, but I've pretty much heard it everywhere. And basically has a human body and the head of a wolf.
Oh.
So
like so like an Egyptian god style, but werewolf.
Yeah, and it's a little more on the haunty side.
Okay.
So like I learned about this through some coworkers who claim that the Rougarou lives on one of the alternative roads, like back roads to get to our marine facility, Lumcon. This road is called Bayou Sally, and fun fact, is supposedly the most haunted road in Louisiana, but I guess that depends on who you ask. But Bayou Sally is this long, curvy road that connects Dulac to Cocotree, and Cocotree is where Lumcon is. Supposedly, the most haunted road in Louisiana because it was built upon the burial grounds of indigenous people in this area. People claim to see a ghost hitchhiker at night, which potentially is the Rougarou, with a light or lantern that lures drivers into their trap and demands treasures and other offerings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of different areas have some version of like a Bigfoot thing. Like, I know, obviously like Bigfoot and Sasquatch are more or less the same, but then like over in Florida in the worst swamps, they have, I think it's called the skunk ape is like their version of Bigfoot over there, but they're all basically just like, Bigfoot, but like, let me copy your homework, but change it a little so they can't tell.
Right.
But this one seems, like you said, very like a lot more like haunty, like spirity is, more than just like some weird animal that just hasn't been discovered yet.
Right.
This is the kind of thing that would show up in a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And yeah, I would say that I don't think they're exactly equivalent Bigfoot and the Rougarou, but more like along the lines of this like mythical creature that lives in like the forests and swamps and whatever. But yeah, the storytelling of the Rougarou has been used to inspire fear and obedience, like to get kids to behave, for example.
Oh, that classic.
Yeah.
Shtick.
Yes. And then the French Catholic Lougarou stories, and this is another variation, is a wolf-like beast that will hunt down and kill Catholics who do not follow the rules of Lent. And if you don't follow the rule, or like another version is if you don't follow the rules of Lent for 7 years or in a row, you turn into the Rougarou. Really? Yes.
Interesting.
I have some bad news for you guys then.
Are you the Rougarou, Mike?
Apparently, if that's all it takes, I'm the Rougarou a couple times over.
So is it like is there supposed to only be one? Or
so it's kind of unclear. I've always heard it as the Rougarou, but like I said, that's just one. There's many versions of this story of the Rougarou, so it seems like the ones that I've heard, it's like this haunted mythical creature, but in more of like the French Catholic versions, it's more of a curse almost.
Okay.
So going on to another version, there's the blood-sucking legend, and this is the Rougarou is under a spell for 101 days. And so I guess there's only one singular Rougarou, and then passes the curse on from person to person. After the 101 days, they draw blood from another person. Okay. But by day, they're normal humans, and then by night, they turn into the Rougarou.
Okay, that sounds much more werewolfy.
Right.
Yes. Yep. And I actually did do a quick Google Translate of the Lougarou, and it did come up as werewolf.
Okay. Yeah, so that first word, like Loup, does mean wolf. Right. But I don't know what that last word is supposed to mean. Because werewolf in English, like were, comes from like some old English word for man, I think. Like
WERE?
Yeah. Like that supposedly means like man wolf. Or maybe it's some old German. I do not know German. But that's what that's supposed to mean in English. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was some kind of old French version for man. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Right. And so the last story of the Rougarou that I could find, there's probably many others that are not on the internet. but other stories range from the Rougarou as a rabbit,
A
being
swamp rabbit?
derived.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
maybe.
do we have the
Maybe.
culprit here?
Is
I
Jimmy
don't know.
Carter a Rougarou?
Do we
Is
have
Right.
that why
evidence
he's
that Jimmy
lived
Carter
so
is not?
long?
Yeah.
It all
Maybe
makes
so.
sense now.
Oh, yeah. So this rabbit was derived from witchcraft, and only a witch is supposedly able to make a Rougarou, either by turning into a wolf herself, or by cursing others with lycanthropy.
With what?
Lycanthropy.
That
in English, please.
Which
lycanthropy is the like being a werewolf as in like a disease sort of thing. It's
right.
So it's like
Yeah.
a person inflicted with lycanthropy would turn into a werewolf on the full moon. You know, that whole shtick.
Okay.
Yep. So those are all the stories that I have, but there apparently has been a lot of pop culture references to the Rougarou. This fun fact is for Gavin. The Rougarou has become a Dakota presence from the. I apologize for butchering this. The Ojibwa folktales, which I believe is a tribe,
mm-hmm.
and is mentioned in the narrative of In the Spirit of Crazy Horse.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That doesn't mean anything to me, but I saw Dakota and I was like, Gavin.
So, Crazy Horse, if this might not be true or like correct, but I believe that he was a member of the Lakota Sioux.
Oh, okay.
And so
I don't know what that is either.
So the Sioux are like one of like the major like Northern Plains Native American tribes, and then there are lots of different like sub tribes. So like the Lakota are like one section of them, and so
a quick Google search says that Dakota is correct.
Okay, and so Crazy Horse was, I don't even want to say he was like one of their leaders, but he was someone who basically became like a face of the resistance.
I gotcha.
And so they're actually in the process of building an extremely large monument to him that makes Mount Rushmore look small. And like I've been to both of them, and it is enormous. If you get a chance, give it a quick Google, just Crazy Horse Monument, South Dakota. There's some controversy about it. I'm not going to go into it. But that's interesting that that's somehow associated with up there, which is weird because so up there a lot, you get a lot of different, the big like sort of cryptid thing up around there are jackalopes.
Oh yeah.
Which are, for anyone who's not aware, effectively just rabbits, circling back to rabbits again, with antlers.
Yes.
So interesting that nowhere at none of the tourist things did I ever see anything about Northern Plains werewolves, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, some other pop culture references of the Rougarou, I guess, is it's been mentioned on the History Channel television series, Cryptid, the Swamp Beast, where Troy Landry, who is a big person in Swamp People, talks about the Rougarou legend and all that stuff. Also, apparently, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter universe includes wands that contain Rougarou hair as their magical core. This one was a little skeptical of me. I guess I find skeptical, but supposedly that is there. The Rougarou's also been mentioned in episodes of Supernatural and NCIS. Mostly as some sort of monster or evil bad thing.
Okay.
Never Scooby-Doo?
No, I don't think so.
That seems right up Scooby-Doo's alley.
That is right.
I know.
Exactly. Like
Scooby-Doo, make a movie about the Rougarou.
I mean, they're still making like different TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Scooby, like, man, do it.
Yeah, if you're listening, whoever is writing Scooby-Doo still, do that.
And so I actually looked up because, so, you know, like you were saying with the French Catholic, versions of it,
right.
A lot of like what we think of as like the traditional werewolf legends come from France.
Oh, wow.
And so, which makes sense, wolves lived in France, and I was like, did wolves ever actually live in Louisiana, or is that just something that people brought from somewhere else? And so I actually looked it up. Yeah, they actually did, which kind of surprised me. Swamp wolves.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I have for this episode.
I mean, would we call this cryptozoology? Would that be a fair way to categorize this?
I don't know, because
or is this mythology?
Yeah, I
feel it's mythology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think cryptozoology, if people were like, this is like an animal,
people actually believe, right?
Well, not even that, because people believe in Bigfoot, and right. But people also, but this has much more of like a spiritual kind of thing to it. Whereas it's not like people are saying this is like a species of animal that lives out there. Whereas people, say that about Bigfoot and, Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But okay. So a question that I had for Fia, though, is you said that you heard about this from your coworkers.
Yes.
So do they believe that this is a real thing? Just like out of curiosity, because they all presumably are scientists as well, and most of the scientists that I know are not particularly superstitious people.
Yeah. So I heard about this from coworkers that are not scientists. They're like
gotcha.
Vessel operators, and very like native Southern Louisiana people. But gotcha. I don't know that it's necessarily anything that the people that I've talked to really believe. I mean, there's been several like stories and like news stuff that's come out that's like people swear they've seen the Rougarou, or even like have been attacked by the Rougarou. That like it's such a controversial like thing, but I would say like my friends that are from here, from the most part, are just like, yeah, it's just kind of like this thing to like you hear about, but it's just like another tale,
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
but I would not be surprised that people like
for sure
do believe in the Rougarou.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love little regional, and you mentioned this before, but every small town around the world and culture has their own mythology and old wives' tales and stuff like that. And this is a cool one. It's got its own Wikipedia page that I just looked up, and and kind of everything to go with it. So I love just like learning how humans are able to kind of create culture around around things and stories like this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So with that, if Fia has nothing else, I believe now we can go to Gavin for his his paleontology moment, or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, so I guess it's just like a little mini lesson. So every now and then I try to do various forms of science education, most of the time to very little effect because it's on Facebook. And so I'm a member of many different like meme pages, and most of the people that are in them just like memes. Especially one in particular that I'm a big fan of, called Wild Green Memes for Ecological Fiends.
Yes, I'm on there too.
And so most of the time it's people who are like interested in nature but aren't like experts or know much about nature or biology. Just people who enjoy memes and also outside. And so whenever I see a chance to correct somebody without being super like, well, actually, I try to take that chance. And so somebody posted a meme about there's a very common like misconception that I'm sure most people have heard that the closest living relative to a T-Rex is a chicken.
So yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Which is not true. That's not how. If you remember, I believe episode 58, where we talk about taxonomy and cladistics and the tree of life. That's not how that works. All birds are all equally related to T-Rex.
But
no, there's no but on that.
But how good would a T-Rex have tasted if I could fry it up and barbecue it?
It probably would have tasted like chicken.
Oh man, some T-Rex meat. If we can get our hands on some T-Rex meat and eat it live on the podcast, that'd be awesome.
But anyway, so underneath the comments on that,
it's like moving on.
Yes, moving on. Underneath the comments on that, some people had some misconceptions about evolution and how taxonomy works. So, but one person, for whatever reason, felt the need to bring like human evolution into it, which, okay, sure. And they basically said that I'm not going to mention this person because I have no idea what it is, but they said also the theory of evolution doesn't say humans evolved from monkeys. It says humans and monkeys evolved from a common ancestor, which is one of those things that's like true, but also not. That's like what you tell. It's, as we talked about a lot, it's like something you tell people in like the 101 class and then have to unteach them later.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've mentioned things like that several times.
Yeah. So yes, that is broadly how evolution works, but with the specific things that they mentioned being humans and monkeys, that is also sort of not true. Because there's sort of the classic anti-evolution stance. It's like, well, if humans evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? It's like, well, that's not how evolution works.
Tell me you don't know what you're talking about without telling me you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And so I basically corrected that person and basically said, well, no, humans definitely did evolve from monkeys, because monkeys generally are split into two groups. There's the old world monkeys, which are things like your baboons, your macaques, anything in Africa or Eurasia. Those are the old world monkeys. Those are all a single group of monkeys. Then there is the new world monkeys, things in Central South America. Things like I think howler monkeys are over there, spider monkeys are over there, capuchin monkeys, pretty much any monkey that you've seen that can curl its tail around stuff, that is a New World monkey.
Okay.
Those are all, again, their own separate group that some of them like rafted across the ocean from Africa to South America a while ago, and they split off and became their own thing. Humans and other apes are within the old world monkey group. And so basically, as I explained to this person, if you consider the old world monkeys to be monkeys and the new world monkeys to be monkeys, then everything between them must also be monkeys, including humans. And
So is the moral of the story here, like, humans are monkeys?
That is correct.
Wow.
And so that's just really but people don't like that. And for various historical and racist reasons, I understand.
Right. I kind of agree. Just like if monkey means anything, like if that word means anything in a colloquial sense, like I feel like calling humans monkeys just is not useful colloquially when we're talking.
Right. And so that is often, as I mentioned probably a couple times in that episode about the Tree of Life. Yeah, there does come a point where it's not useful to refer to a group as, even though they're technically part of this group, like humans are also fish. Not really useful to call them that. But with this one, I think it is important because A, we are quite closely related, and B, a lot of people very much don't understand human evolution, in that a lot of people, even fairly religious people who just as a demographic tend to not be all that inclined to believe in evolution, a lot of people will accept that evolution is something that happens. They just don't think it happens in humans, which I don't know how you square the circle on that one.
Yeah.
But
I have a guess how you square the circle on that one, but moving on.
And basically this person which they have no reason to think that I'm not just some rando on the internet, that this is what I do for a living. But the way I phrased it was because humans are more closely related to old world monkeys, that whatever humans evolved from must also be monkeys. They didn't like that. They said more closely related to doesn't mean descended from. And I'm like, well, it actually does. You just don't know. So all of
how
that.
does this relate to the chicken?
That was the original thing, and it's the same root of the argument in that.
Okay.
In saying that, like, all old world monkeys are equally related to humans. Same sort of things, where it's like birds, including chickens, are one branch of dinosaurs, and therefore they are all equally related to T-Rex. Is the original source of the meme. But all of this digression to say that yes, humans are indeed monkeys.
Well, all right. Humans are monkeys. We have Cajun werewolves, and Jimmy Carter is still alive. What an episode we have here on episode 70. Yes?
Something that I thought about in the moment and then forgot about, and you reminded me again. Is that maybe how he lived so long? He got attacked by the swamp rabbit, and that made him a Rougarou, and that's how he lives long.
I love that.
This is something that
and that's why
we need some investigative journalists on this.
That's why he does so much good things during the day, because he has to pay for all the bad spirity things he gets up to at night.
Oh gosh.
Oh god, I need there was that one movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or something.
Oh my
I need to see like Jimmy Carter Rougarou. I just
Maybe we should reach out to the producers of Velocipaster and see if they can make that happen.
Maybe we should reach out to Jimmy Carter and see if we can get him on the podcast.
Wow.
And with that, this has been episode 70 of I Wish You Were Dead, a podcast about things that used to be alive. My name is Mike. That is Gavin and Fia. And we will talk to all of you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
This episode of I Wish You Were Dead was written by Fenella Campanino and hosted by Gavin Davidson, Mike Bryson, and Fenella Campanino. It was sound edited and edited for YouTube by Gavin Davidson. Special thanks to former guests of the pod and to listeners like you.